before YouTube, half of my giant African zoo had already been built. Now that we are so close to completing this massive sprawling project, I thought it would be fitting to give you a first look into what came before I ever hit the record button. This has never really been showcased on this channel. This is not the official tour of Bollo Bollo. That one will be more cinematic and much more polished and longer than this. This was recorded in one go. Well, 2 goes actually, as past Yelbu will tell you. Join me. So here we are, guys. Fun fact, I recorded this whole thing yesterday and took me an hour to finish. And then I finished recording, looked down at my microphone and noticed it hadn't recorded a single second. So here we are again. I'm going to act like all of this is new to me as well. I mean, it's not new to me, but I built it, of course. Here is the iconic opening to Bollo Bollo, a sightline that I knew from the very start I wanted to build, a triumphal arch with the 3 baobab trees behind it, so we get this crazy overblown sort of processional promenade up to the triumphal arch here. Just a quick introduction to Bollo Bollo as a concept. Bollo Bollo was always intended to be set in North Africa, where a very wealthy tycoon purchased some pretty much a site of old Roman ruins and decided to incorporate some North African architecture, probably very insensitive in terms of accuracy, and build a very expensive, chaotic zoo there. So this triumphal arch actually is something I made myself. I'm actually quite happy with it, to be fair, but a lot of the finer details here, such as these fennec fox statues and all the other statues you have going on here, were actually added in by my girlfriend, who is an accomplished builder herself. She hasn't built in a while in her own zoos, but I know for a fact that she's very good. But these wild beast statues and everything are blueprints. You got a lion statue here hidden in this temple. But designed to be a very crazy entrance, absolutely deliberately. And then you head on over here to the opening plaza. This tour is not, as I said, the official definitive tour of Bollo Bollo. It is very close to being finished. And also, I don't want to spend too much time here, to be fair. I want the official tour to be, you know, the official real tour of this place. So let's just zoom through it, not in explore mode as I normally would. This is the first habitat that I built. Believe it or not, this used to be a great white pelican habitat, but I've removed the water also because it was just very glitchy and the pelicans wouldn't use it the way I wanted them to. So now it has some Watusi living in this very strange temple. Another note, as you can see in the top right corner here, we're running at a smooth 17 to 16 frames per second, and that is with only half of the animals, only half of the habitats that I built, all the habitats that I built for before YouTube have animals in them, and only like 60% of what actually should be in there. Even then, we're only looking at 17 frames per second. So this zoo is absolutely massive. Anyway, this is the opening plaza. Not a lot going on here. You have some choices of where to go, but we're going to get our tickets here. By the way, I rediscovered this base game piece and it's actually so cool. I want to use it more. It's such an aesthetic. This is the first building I made, sort of the entrance, meeting area, gift shop, museum. Still like this building a lot, with the bricks and the black rocks and the waterfall I built here. Still pretty pleased with this building and the display cases and everything. I didn't do a very bad job here. We're not going to take this or that exit quite yet. We're going to head to the first sort of themed area of Bollo Bollo. You'll see me do one thing a lot during this tour, and that is backtracking, because if there's one thing I'm not good at, it is planning ahead. This zoo is a chaotic mess and the visitor experience is a bit, it's kind of terrible. Anyway, Roman rocks, The goal for Roman rocks was to design, to have two design principles: lots of faux rocks, keeping the default color, and adding animals that are aquatic or are loosely connected to the Roman world, the Roman sphere of influence. And what better way to start than the Mediterranean monk seal, which has this sort of amphitheater in the back and this sunshade protecting them from the sun. And yeah, this sort of mode here. I know I've seen this before in a lot of zoos where the water is up to the actual rim here of the glass. It was too much of a hassle to fix that when I put all of this in, so it looks like this. Still, you know, a simple but I feel very effective opener here to the theme. To the left, actually, I skipped a part. This is one way of viewing the African penguin and pelicans. But this is sort of designed, as you can see, this area, you're not supposed to look into the habitat of the pelicans and the penguins the whole time. You only get glimpses of it like so. And optimally, I would want way more penguins in here. But, you know, we have to take into account the very poor frame rate of the zoo already. We are going to walk past the monk seals and we get a way of viewing them from up here. They are rarely down there. They usually are in the water or sort of resting next to their fish platter back there. That guy's gonna prove me wrong just now, I bet. Or not. And to the left you get glimpses into a habitat that I... hang on, I'm gonna do something and I'll explain to you why I'm doing this. We're gonna delete this and add it back in. This habitat is cursed. It is the Barbary macaque who lives here, and I still really like the concept of this habitat. As you can see, it has this sort of little rock with lots of wooden platforms for them to traverse, and actually an overpass back there. But it is so glitchy and the climbing just doesn't agree with me and doesn't do what I want to do. But I like the concept so much that I've never considered, you know, removing this or changing it. You get a funny themed little shops here, very theme park-esque deliberately, and this is actually the shelter for the Barbary macaque. I don't know why I put these in here, but as you can see they can go all the way down there, but they can of course get up there by jumping and climbing, and I think we're gonna spend some time watching it climb to the little overpass here that you can walk under as a guest and actually get beneath the monkey and see its little paws on the glass, and then it can crawl into this habitat, which I'm gonna zoom out already and show it to you so you can see the concept. I still really like this, and if it wasn't so glitchy I would have showcased it before, honestly. But it's sort of a hidden secret to me that every time I load this zoo, I need to remove a part of this and add it back. So then it recalculates the climbing and then somehow it works. It's a bit annoying. And then comes our first backtrack of the little unofficial tour here. We have to walk back and we're going to head actually up to here. And we're going to go left first, because that is a closed-off area. This is another view into the penguins and pelicans, which I would love for them to spend more time in the water actually, but you know, that's planned too for you. And this is one of my favorite buildings in the zoo, and that is the big restaurant, doesn't have a name or anything, mixing little Roman vibes with little modern vibes with little African vibes as well, with some nice blueprints by Caesar crates for this bar and coffee bar, I guess. And it has some of my favorite views in the entire zoo. This is, it didn't look like this when I built it, of course, but now that the rest of the zoo has been filled in, look at this, guys. I'm so happy with how this terrace area and this viewing area turned out. Lag spike there. I'm not, this is something I built for YouTube, so you've seen this before, but look at this density of this view and everything going on with the meerkat domes and everything. The African leopard, the African village back there. I'm so happy, and the building itself also. I know it's not crazy or unique perhaps, but I'm really happy with this, with the color scheme and everything. I'm kind of proud of this one. And actually, it doesn't offer just one view, it offers 4. You've seen one there to the left. You also get this unique view into the African penguin deep dive pool. And actually we get 2 pelicans there as well with their little feet. Usually there's far more penguins in here, but of course. And I think I have this like winding staircase that is also a blueprint. I would not have the patience or the skill to build that myself. And actually, this is the 3rd viewing opportunity you have here. As you can see, it is one of the 2 ways to view the serval, which does live in here, I assure you, but it is probably hiding in the tall grass somewhere or at the other end of the habitat. Oh no, there it is, look! Very cat-like, resting in the sun here. I'm glad we found it. Very well camouflaged, I must say. And there's the other one. There we go. Probably the smallest habitat in Bollo Bollo. If you know me, I like to build big, and this is not. This is quite small for a yellow habitat. And this is also one of my favorites. And I think I'll zoom out just to show you why it's so cool at the very end. But you get the Klipspringer. A lot of mods in this zoo. Almost every African animal mod that's out there, actually, the Klipspringer. And you also get the very freaky looking, very interesting Gelada monkey, also a mod, of course. And yeah, just look at this view, not only into the monkey habitat, but the zoo as well with the monorail station. That is kind of spoiler material, but I don't think you can make much sense of it right now. So it's also not finished, so let's not dwell on that too much. There we go, backtracking again. Love that view. That's a restroom, by the way, in here, and the kitchen. So we have to backtrack again. And now we are going to head up to what is actually, I think, my favorite or second favorite build in the zoo. You've seen this before. This is a viewing into the African buffalo, which I forgot was a YouTube build, so I did put them back in here. But of course, this is like the 3rd video or something that I made. But we are going to approach this area. And I think you can see already, I've showed it before, perhaps on streams or something, but this is what I, call the Grand Dome. This is 5 aviaries. Actually, there's another one down there. This is my bird section pretty much of the zoo, and not that the actual habitats inside are unique, but I am in love with what I did here, I have to be honest. The arrowwood growing over it, the shape of it, the rusty aviaries circling it, very, very happy with this. And actually, to get up here, you see on your right the Grand's Gazelle, and they are being kept company in here with, I don't see quite yet, I think that's them back there, to a pair of crowned cranes, black crowned cranes in fact. Love this habitat. I really fell in love while building this zoo with dry and sparse vegetation, and of course the impingo tree, Nitraria bush, arrowwood. I am so comfortable with creating scenes like this. It has become a genuine hobby of mine. Yeah, and at the other end, actually, there we go. We have pretty much a larger habitat with this sort of hidden. You don't really see where it drops off, but it does have the sable antelope and the marabou. Again, it should be much more populated. I would have like 10 of them walking around here, and the storks. But I have to protect the frame rate of the zoo. This is the bird dome. We're actually not going to go in here yet. Let's actually look at the outside. By the way, sorry guys, I haven't even put this in for the tour. This is very much a spur of the moment tour. There you go. This is the silvery-cheeked hornbill, which you see flying around there. It does have its enrichment. It does have its flying animation. This is of course a mod. And you have the Congo peafowl as well. There should be a male and a female in there as well. And the silvery-cheeked hornbill, which I believe was like the 2nd or 3rd mod to ever be created that had flying animations. And the first African bird to do so. I really, really was anxiously waiting for a Great Cake mods. I always say that wrong. Here you have two iconic birds in a very large aviary for them. In fact, there you see, I love that they're sticking together. The secretary bird, one of the most requested animals in Planet Zoo history, and one of my favorite birds, actually, the southern ground hornbill. They get a lot of space because they deserve to. Then you get some shops, some shade, and then you get a pair of the blue crane, the national bird of South Africa. And actually they're sharing this habitat with a bunch of very, very small birds. And I think that's them back there, the Egyptian plover. I believe these are the birds that have some rumors or myths spread about them, that they sort of eat like dirt and remainders of food from the mouths of crocodiles, but I don't think that's actually natural behavior. You can tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. And this was designed to be a Cape vulture habitat until I changed my mind, put them elsewhere, and I put the vulturine guinea fowl in here. And I think you can sort of still tell that the Cape vulture genesis of this habitat. We've circled the dome. Let's go in here. I perhaps put a bit too many birds in here. It's a bit chaotic and not really a diverse. I mean, you judge for yourself. This is the bird dome with the dramatic fountain in the back, the palm trees and everything. And down there you have a whole collection of birds. The helmeted guinea fowl, the eastern crested guinea fowl is in there somewhere. The saddlebill stork, some more of those. The great blue Turako, actually. I think these are the ones that actually fly to move around. They're not doing it, they're just hopping. The animations are a bit glitchy at the moment. But yeah, you get two species of guinea fowl down there. The southern bald ibis, there you go, there you have it flying. The bald ibis there, I believe I was eagerly awaiting the northern bald ibis as a mod, but I don't think it's going to come here to my zoo after all. But we still get one of these bald ibises as well. You know, ideally you would have plenty of flying birds as well, to be and probably more purchase for them as well, or they would be sitting on this. But you know, I might actually end up downloading some bird statues to add them. And we also have the other hornbill, ground hornbill, the Abyssinian ground hornbill. Let's get out of here. The last time I recorded this, it was an hour. I'm going to try and not make it an hour long. I think I'm doing well. Look down there at the length of the video to see what it actually ended up being. But I'm going to try and keep it shorter and leave the actual, you know, tour and big looks at everything for the official Bollo tour, which will probably be like another 3-hour video, right? There we go. We have some choices of where to go. I'm actually not heading here, surprise, surprise. I'm going to go to the first real section that I built. Sort of, I know it's not really accurate or anything, but I built this sort of bazaar or marketplace building, what have you. So we're gonna circle it. I was very proud when I made this. I have surpassed this in quality, I feel, but it's just, you know, it's a nice vibe in general. As you can see, there's plenty of ways to get in and out of this building, and it's because one secret in here, as you can see, is a bat exhibit. This with the Egyptian fruit bat, I'm going to assume, is in here. I think it is, right? Would make sense. Although I think, are these the right decals? Is this the fruit bat? It is the fruit bat. There you go. Let's ignore some of the things you're probably seeing, because we're not going to go there yet. This is the shaded, covered, sort of like the second welcoming area, you could almost say, of the zoo. I could very well imagine this being a very crowded area, and probably would have to add way more benches in here for people to get some drinks and sit here in the shade, help their complaining children who are you know, genuinely crying because it's very hot. And this is like the third habitat I built in the zoo, sort of meant to be like a backyard with a well back there for the African crested porcupine. So there you go, there you have it, the African crested porcupine. Actually, guys, I'm reminded of a mistake I had to fix. So I'm gonna fix that mistake right now. In the last tour, I discovered a bit of a mishap here. In this habitat, I placed some animals in the wrong habitat. So we're just going to skip ahead. I'm going to keep this in. This is a stream of consciousness tour. So let's just make sure. Oh, this is not the one I need to be selecting. Is this one? I know this is weird. You know, bear with me. I know what I'm doing. Although I'm fixing a mistake. Hang on. Did I fix it? I already fixed it. Whatever, guys. I'm keeping this in. I'm not cutting it out. Let's go back here. This was sort of the either desert or North African hoofstock area. And this is the first real themed thing, the real big project that I had for Bollo Bollo. I'm still very pleased with it, even though it doesn't look exactly the way I wanted to because of a lack of animals. I would want way more animals in here. But what I like most about this is this rocky moat with this dry vegetation all over. If they really wanted to, they could try and get down here, but they don't, of course. But the look of this rocky area and then just overgrown with plants down there, and with the big olive tree, every habitat gets like its own signature tree, which was also a design choice here for the beautiful Somali wild ass. And we are going to go clockwise around it. We're going to see some things again unfinished that I'm not going to talk about just yet. So let's act like that area to the left is not there. Here you get a view of the scimitar horned oryx and their own little hoofstock yard. I love hoofstock. I love building for them. I feel like a lot of people don't, and that's fair. But I really like building for any hoofed animal, really. And I think mostly that is because me building this area and sort of falling in love with creating little scenes for them. Because the star of hoofstock yards like this, it's not the animals themselves usually, it is the painting you can paint around them, the little nature scenes. We continue on. Yeah, let's actually, now that we're here, I think I'm going to head back a bit. We are going to take a look at this habitat. This is the striped hyena, who get a very big habitat, perhaps a bit too big for them. And you get what you're looking at here is a desert-themed mountain with animals closely connected to the desert and to rocky mountainous areas. And the striped hyena gets this cool setting, really, with this long sloped road promenade and this circular tunnel, because they can also, this is entrance to their backstage. Warning, don't look in there, there's nothing. And at the other end they actually have a whole second section that they very rarely visit. And I don't blame them. Most of the fun stuff of their habitat is in here. But if they want to, they can look for a bit more privacy back there. We're not visiting Desert Mountain just yet, because, you know, backtracking, guys. We are going to go around the area first. This is the Dama gazelle habitat, with a whole bunch of buildings, very colorful, very bright, very vaguely North African. If in case you were wondering, it is all a very deliberate design choice to make this zoo colorful. Realism is optional. It is appreciated but optional. The water is colored with this sort of fantasy color that would not occur in real life. That is very much the design of this zoo, to have this sort of theme park aspect to it. Sort of a rich man's dream of an African zoo, really. And this is the Dama gazelle. Plenty of them in here, with the sausage tree, which I have discovered by now, is that these things are very poisonous, and if they would drop down and the animals would eat them, it is very likely that they could actually pass away from this. So it's actually not a very smart tree to put into animal habitats, but there you go, here it is. We leave this shaded building and we get a little bit of a glimpse here into what I believe is the largest, or at least top 3 largest habitats, and that is the desert around the river. We'll talk more about the river. You have, as you can see, the Arabian oryx in there, and we'll probably catch sight of the other inhabitant if we enter this educational building. There we go, the dromedary camel as well. As you can see, this is a big habitat with not a lot in terms of vegetation. You get the monorail and the very, very, very long walkway that leads from this building to actually reconnect to the area that we're in now. But we've sort of been skipping the addax. No, that's actually what's coming up. The addax is of course in here. You get plenty of opportunities to view them. A race platform over here. You can look at them from over here. You can stand here again at the very start and check out the addax as well, which has become one of my favorite species of antelope at this point. Yeah, and I still, even though it's one of the earliest things I built in Bollo Bollo, I'm still very pleased with this whole concept. And we can get here and have a final look at the dromedaries and oryxes should they appear here. There you go. Another beautiful mod, of course. So many modded animals are in here. I fell in love with modding in general. And yeah, we've sort of come full circle here. So what we are going to do is, you guessed it, backtrack. I'm sorry guys, this is the worst thing about my zoo, and a lot of people when visiting this in real life or even touring it themselves would complain about this, and they deserve to. There's so much backtracking involved in this zoo. It's such chaotic pathing, and I'm so sorry, but there we go. We head sort of down in here and we get to our left and to our right. Oh, there actually is one. There you go, here is a striped hyena in the lesser visited section of their habitat. Thank you for actually showcasing this for me. And we are going to head up this very cool, like almost like ceremonial, processional. I know I've said that word a lot. I don't know what it is with me today. I love saying processional. And I have a very cool moment in mind that would happen. Yes, there we go. Thank you so much for working with me. This cool fountain has a secret, because at the very top there, hidden behind it, there we go. Ah, that is perfect. That is everything we wanted out of this moment. I'm so happy for the animals to cooperate. Up there is the Nubian ibex habitat, that which we'll actually get to see if we keep climbing this desert mountain. But this little secret here, it is the picture moment, of course, of this part of the zoo. You want this to happen when you arrive here. Obviously very unrealistic, knowing ibexes, they could escape very easily from, they could just get down there and get on these rocks. But yeah, so happy that happened. And you get a bit of a cool view here with some theming, of course. I had so much fun theming the whole zoo. I know I'm not saying much about it, but believe me, I had a lot of fun building this, and looking back at it, I'm very pleased with it. I stole this from someone, and I don't remember who, but you have this glass roof implied with the water running over it and down there into a habitat that actually belongs to another desert African animal, the aoudad, which I've actually seen in real life for what I remember to be the first time in Plankendael Zoo in Belgium. living together there with the Barbary macaque, in fact. But they have a lot of elevation. They can get down there, climb this area, or if they choose to do so, they can actually have a little rest here in these little caverns, which they don't really do often. They do have a shelter here, so they don't really bother to get up here. But yeah, cool little habitat, and which does showcase a lot of the density of the zoo, with some cool sightlines as to the palaces. I don't know why, but the domes of the palaces right here and right here, they disappear when I zoom out. So I don't know why. Something about the way those pieces are built, I guess. So we get away from the Audats into this funky little dome, which I had a lot of fun building, even though it has a lot of imperfections, and I probably would fix those imperfections if I had the patience. And you get a little shaded, more secluded, more intimate view here of two tiny sand cats. They theoretically can climb up here, but they don't, of course, because why would they climb ever? So I should have fixed these educational signs before we're starting to record, but I'm not going to record a third time. Up here you are actually at one of the highest places in the zoo. Here you get the sign for the caracal, the statue for the ibex, and this is the only viewing area you get for the Nubian ibex, meaning that that section back there is very private, just for them. But you hope to actually see them, you know, cross the waterfall and arrive here. As you can see, I love that the ibexes somehow are programmed to be much better at traversing vertically inclined terrain. I love that. So that really adds the realism. They would be standing up there. But of course, you know, if they were actual animals, they would have escaped long ago by climbing these rocks. So that is, of course, where realism ends. Oh, I actually forgot about this. You do. Oh, of course you get this view. What am I saying? You get this much better view, in fact, of the ibexes and the way they cross this this area, and you can look there at the waterfall and get another gorgeous view at the chaos and density of Bollo Bollo. What's left here is a couple of things. First of all, this habitat, I'm not going to dwell too much on it because it is very big, but I didn't put a lot of time into it, to be honest. This was just like an empty section of the zoo that I decided, hey, what if I put a fence around it and throw some animals in here? You know, this is not impressive to me. It has also this extremely bizarre building that I built. I cannot explain this. It's a bit of a fever dream building. I don't know what's going on. I built it. It came to me in a dream, I would say. But it does offer you the view here of the final animal that is in here, and that is the caracal. Again, lots of elevation, lots of rocks. Big shelter down there are also caves, and I actually love that they preferred the cave to get their much needed shade. They have so many ways they could escape. Also, this is one of my most used blueprints, the electrical fence. They could escape with such ease climbing up here. And also, I aimed the fences outward, the electrical fences, so nothing is stopping them from jumping out of here and getting a bite at the Dorcas gazelle, the ostrich, or perhaps even at the giraffe that lives here. And then, of course, you do what you have to do, you backtrack. So let's take a little look here at Desert Mountain, with some views of the future. In fact, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, literally so. So that is Desert Mountain, the third big themed area that we're visiting today. You would then, of course, head back down because that is the Bollo Bollo way. And you would then be advised to head up here. This is the River of Life exhibit, I would say. The theme here is First of all, the Nile River, but in a more broader terms, just rivers in general in Africa. And all animals connected to Egypt in a way, or to rivers in a way, are living in here. And you get a first glimpse from the distance. I actually forgot to look at them from up here, but you get a glimpse of the Nile lechwe habitat, which starts here and has a section here, but also they can get all the way up to here, and they actually border the desert habitat, as you can see. But we'll get a better look at them at the end. So we are going to head down to the river of life. A final look here at the Aoudat, which is going to head for a much deserved rest. Down to the river, another look here at the big lake and the monorail and everything. And this crazy building, which I don't know what came over me when I built this. It has some very flawed design choices that I will show you when we enter. This building broke my brain, and my brain has never been the same. But here you get the river of life, and this is such a simple little construction, but I'm still madly in love with this. Conceptually, visually, something about it still speaks to me. And the river of life has a very, very strange opening. Don't ask me about what I built here too much. Let's not dwell on it too much, but you do get the Nile crocodile in here. And I do have to say, it was said on Nix's mods that this mod was fixed and that they actually do deep dive and everything. But every time I've been to this habitat since I put them in, they just have been, well, this one is disappearing into they just don't move. I don't know why, but they just get in the water. And I mean, this is realistic for Nile crocodiles, but not realistic for crocodiles in Planet Zoo. They do move around a lot, but the crocodiles here, they just behave realistically, I guess. I don't know. But you get a big option to walk around here, around the crocodiles, which has a very, like, temple-themed vibe here as well. I'm actually very happy that they're in here, even if they don't work. The Nile crocodile has always been one of my most requested animals. I still feel like it's a big shame that it's not in the game. I know it would, we have our crocodiles, but it's such an iconic animal, isn't it? You get behind these shops, you get some very interesting shaped shops here. Another option here to view the gazelle, ostriches and giraffes. Their giraffes are all back there, actually, so I don't think we're gonna get to see them the way I hoped we would. But we are going to continue to follow the flow and escape from the jaws in the depths. But before we truly escape, there is a secret here that a lot of guests might miss. And in fact, when I did actually allow guests in here, they did not care about this at all. No one came here into the lair of Sobek. As you descend, you get to the first time I actually ever built something like this, an underwater restaurant. And I mean, guys, if I had the option of eating my overpriced zoo lunch in an underwater aquarium like setting like this with Nile crocodiles, ideally swimming above me but also beside me, I would absolutely go there. But the crocodiles in this game aren't cooperating, and the guests never really cared about this. But there you go. The first time I built an underwater section like this, I'm doing it again, even though, I have a lot to learn, because this part of it is very wonky and weird. But up we go. Oops. That won't be in the final tour, obviously. The final tour will be much more fine-tuned. But let's go and see the edge of the world in this building. We are going to get a very large curved glass viewing area of, ironically, there's not an animal in sight at the moment. If I put more of them in here, it would be more populated. But this is, again, the giraffes, the Dorcas gazelle, which there's now plenty of them at the moment. They're getting fed. And there's 2 North African ostriches in here at the moment. I think that's one of them back there. But actually, to contrast with the scale and the grandeur of the desert there at the back, the edge of the world and the edge of the map, you get the banded mongoose in here, a wonderfully crafted modded animal which gets its heat lamps and its sleeping areas and tennis balls, and you can actually stand up here and get a view at them from a more elevated section. I love those lag spikes. And you also stand here and get a better look of the back when we see the edge of the world. Now, this is something. Last time I came here, I was pleasantly surprised because the monkeys that live here, let's see if he's gonna do it. Is he gonna do it? There we go. Yes. Thank you for obliging. This is an overpass, and the previous inhabitants of this habitat, the olive baboon, which was a mod, they never did what you just saw. This was sort of like an implied habitat at this point, but the blue Nile Patas monkey, I believe this mod, actually uses this sort of monkey pit, you could say. This was meant to be for baboons. In fact, I originally built it for the Hamadryas baboon, and because they are obviously connected to Egypt, considered sacred animals there, even though I don't think they live there. But so it's a very large, rocky, very sparse habitat, and ideally, of course, I would throw in like 30 baboons in here, but that is currently not an option with the frame rate. And then you are entering the journey along the river banks. And this is a bit of a shame. First of all, that rock is a bit of a shame. I need to move it to the left. But this beautiful building and this beautiful opening here with the blue waves. You're looking at a window here and a tower with little viewing windows into an empty aquarium. Because I had like 200 African fish in here, cichlids and tilapias and so many small and big fish, but I don't think I could put 200 fish in here, and I decided just for my sanity to keep this empty. If I do the final tour, I will record it into little pieces, and I will populate every habitat fully, but that will be for later. And you're entering a wonderful building that I'm very proud of, even though it is unfinished. You're going to get a lot of wonderful sight lines and little moments. I might forget to cover some of those, so you'll have to notice them yourself. But there's a lot going on, so let's jump into it. To the left, the African sacred ibis, also of course considered sacred to the Egyptians, which have their funny little habitat back there. And to the right, you get the Aldabra tortoise, and if you don't see the other animal in here, you are instructed to check the water, because below you, actually, all of the water you see right here next to the ibises, right here alongside the tortoise island, under the paths, you get the Nile monitors, a very large pool. And I love that they really spend a lot of time swimming around here in this azure water. And they actually do visit these islands a lot, including this one with the heat lamp. And very cool design. This is one design that really came to me in like a daydream. And spoilers, you might have seen the next animal as well. That's an imperfection I need to clean up. But you get the manatee, the African manatee, and if you get lucky, you can at the same time view the pygmy hippo through this window, which I think there is one there. But it would be the best, of course, if you could see them walking past. And of course, the manatee, a fully aquatic animal, so this is of course a mod that you are looking at. But I feel I started building for aquatic animals while building this zoo, and I think this is a very nice manatee habitat, don't you think? very lush, it looks inviting for you to swim into. You get this little picnic area, and the final inhabitant here is the shoebill, which has a lot of space to hide from us. So I wonder where they are hanging out. Perhaps standing under the bath, which, you know, they have a lot of space down there. Where are they? Here is the two of them. The shoebill. There you go. Then you leave. Wait, actually, guys, I skipped something. Yes, I skipped something. Yes, this is something you see these crazy windows? Let's actually look at them from the outside. Right over here, you have this terrace. There's actually a restaurant servicing these tables down there under this building. And these very cool windows. But the windows were so cool that I think I just sort of asked my girlfriend, I need a roof for this building. And she started using these windows as a roof and putting a lot of concrete here and finishing most of it. And then she just told me, you know, finish up the rest. And the rest is this pretty impossible logical puzzle that I am not smart enough to solve, and I don't know how to solve this, and please help me, guys. I don't know how to finish this. I might have to rip out a lot of these windows in the end, but I don't know how to fix this. And if I do a final Bollo Bollo tour, I will have to have fixed this ugly roof. So I don't know what's gonna happen between then and now, or even between now and then. Before we head here, let's head over here. Oh my god, guys. Last tour was an hour. I'm at 46 minutes at this point, and there's still plenty of stuff to show you. So it's gonna be a long video. Anyway, the pygmy hippo lives here. You have plenty of opportunities to view them. And they have a land area, as you can see. They have a shallow water, which is my favorite thing. Just imagine the actual plants responding to them, moving past them. Their backs like pushing the plants aside. So you could just see their backs and maybe their little ears. But they can actually get down there as well for the deeper part as well. So let's do that as well. Let's go to the deeper part because they actually have neighbors. This used to be a very different part of the zoo. This used to be an aquarium actually covered with a straw roof. But I eventually ended up uprooting that whole plan and putting the pygmy hippo in here. And at the other end, a habitat that also changed inhabitants a few times. But at the moment, it does have like its definitive inhabitants, the Eurasian spoonbill, which does spend a lot of time in Africa as well, the red river hog, and the Sita tunga, which is the latest animal I actually put in here. And at the time, I was very, very pleased with the backdrop here. Mud walls, in this case created by Caesar Creates, but then the tropical plants topping it and create this very tropical feel in this desert setting. And I'm still very, very pleased. Even though if I went back to this habitat, I would increase the density of these plants several times over, 16 times the detail. But I think I'm going to respect the frame rate issues of the zoo. And you know, if I like this that much, if I do build another zoo in Plant Zoo 1, I know that density will be the key. So yeah, you can get up here, or you can actually go back here, enter the building again, and why is there two ibis? I made a mistake here. They're in the wrong area. It still works, honestly. They would fit, especially if it was just tortoises. I'm not sure if monitor lizards would play nice with the ibis, but again, something to fix for the final tour. And there we go. We have to backtrack because it wouldn't be a Yelbu Zoo without some backtracking. I love that the palaces now serve as the backdrop for so much of this tour, as envisioned. And here you get the pretty much the ideal definitive view of the Nile Ledgeway. They do spend most of their time here, although they can get all the way up there as well. And you get the desert as well. And I hope, if you're a guest, that you're not tired of the desert, because you're about to enter the most ridiculous walking part of the zoo. I don't know how long this is, but this is a very, very long walkway. And in fact, I hope you like the desert, because that's the only thing you're going to see on your right. And to your left, we have an unfinished section of the zoo. Still don't quite know what to do with it. You do get that backdrop of the Grand Safari, which you've seen me build twice, in fact. And you do get the opportunity here. This was deliberately left open for, the photo moment, really, of the palaces. And you do get something here that you've seen me build on YouTube. So let's just zoom past it. The Hamadryas baboon viewing area. Still so much walking to do. This is ridiculous. Even if we speed up, there we go. We are back here. And I believe it is now time to show you. And I'm going to show it to you the way I intended, although you can do it many other ways. This is, of course, the Flamingo Palace. A very large, luxurious, ridiculous, fanciful flamingo habitat, which houses two species of flamingo, the greater and lesser flamingo, which is a mod, of course. And I think just the boldness of the pink and the blues, and then just the blues reflected in this wood and the pinks reflected in this wonderful, I think this is one of my favorite things in here, this raised platform to check out the flamingos, check out the trees of life here. Imagine, guys, when I was building this, I threw in like 100 flamingos in here, and they do love this pool more than this pool. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's closer from their shelter or something. I don't know. But at the other end, you do get the African penguins and pelicans, which do really use this habitat to the fullest, and I'm pleased with that. And you get the 3 trees here with their very heavily planted little circle around them. You can walk around them and view the beach here of the penguins and the pelicans, which has a lot of shade from these trees. That's Roman rocks back there again. If you followed along logically, you know the serval lives here, and it's probably still resting back there. Oh, no, again proven wrong. Here is the serval here with this like funky little columns here. And continuing along, you get one of the final things I have to show you. The Gelada and Klipspringer habitat, but this is like the optimal viewing experience, really. There they are. But I think to truly see what makes this so special, you're going to have to get down these stairs and see the vision truly. I've seen a couple of creators do this, but not too often. I don't see many builders do this, and this is the only time I ever really did this as well. Use these paths, especially these raised paths like this, as actual traversable climbing for animals. So it's not an original idea, but it's something that I'm really pleased with, because it works so much. This little splash of blue against the brown. And they actually, especially if there's more of them, they spend a lot of time using this to get around, while the Klipspringer uses this part. And at this end you get a view here again of one of my most dense and accomplished parts of the zoo, the African village here with the Ethiopian wolf, the monorail station. You've seen all this before, of course. And then there's one part for which you do need to head past this already built on YouTube African buffalo habitats. You get a glimpse here at the lemurs, but one of the final things I did build right over here, and you can probably see it already, is an aviary for a couple of birds, all of which call temporarily or permanently Africa their home. You have the Atlantic cormorant, I believe. Is that there? The North Atlantic? The North Atlantic great cormorant. There, again, imagine way more of them. You do get the Cape vulture in here. I think there's 3 Cape vultures in here. There you go. I love that they fly. I would love it even more if they would actually sit on those perches, especially these ones above the water. I also did add in the bird poop, got that idea from, I believe, just Goran, and of course you gotta add in the bird poop. And so there's the Cape vulture, there's one Egyptian vulture in here, sitting lovely in the poop. Great mod. All of these bird mods by the fantastic modder. Great Cake Mods. There we go. I always struggle with their name for some reason, but Great Cake Mods it is. So yeah, that is the final aviary really of the aviary section that I put in here. Love that the Cape vulture is so active, even though it is glitching through the terrain there. And then of course this leads to the elephants and everything, and you've seen all of that before. All of that is part of the YouTube Bollo Bollo. In fact, if we zoom out, let's take a little time here to zoom out what I just showed you, and I think you can even visually sort of see the difference between the areas, of course, but also I guess sort of in the density, I believe, and the quality. And there's some spoilers in this image, but I'm not going to point your attention to it. So this is pretty clearly... Oh, I actually skipped an animal. Let's head down there before we close it off. But this is what I built for YouTube, right? And then I feel like there's... Maybe it's in my brain, but I feel like there's a definitive... Like you can see that like half of this zoo really was already built when I started recording my speed builds. So I don't think... I wish I had started sooner, and I wish you had been there with me, at the very start of this project. But alas, I was too scared, honestly, to start a YouTube channel. That's honestly it. So you do get the shadow trail here, leading up to the Great Apes Islands there. You do get the African village and the mandrills, the African leopard back there. It all looks so nice from above. I love this part of the zoo so much, with the wolves and the weird meerkat domes, the grants, the wild dogs. I know, guys, I know you're looking at spoilers. This is actually the first speed build I recorded, and even with it being, relatively old, I'm still very happy with this concept. There's no animals in here at the moment. And I believe this was the second speed build, yes, for the African spurred tortoise. And then there is the gift shop called Shopopotamus, ha ha ha, very funny, which sort of reflects the pink palace back there. It is empty. I never finished Shopopotamus, but it does give you, as you can see, a unique view into the hippopotamus habitat. There's 3 ways to look at them. No, there's 4. Including the monorail, I guess there's 5. So that is the hippopotamus with their cute little imposing palace back there. Let's actually make haste and check out, the sort of the prime viewing area for their land section, which is over here, across from the Grand Safari sort of entrance area. But if we follow the monorail back, you do get this underwater viewing area for them. And if you have the mood for it, you can follow this path from that staircase past this waterfall and you can have a view from above actually at the hippos. Lovely. And if you continue down this path, you will eventually end up at the baboons, and you can start the walking section of the Grand Safari. And it's funny. It's actually very funny. I said to myself, I need to keep this shorter than my first recording of the zoo. I need to talk less, spend less time dwelling on every habitat, and it is the exact same length. It is an hour-long video that I just showed to you. I'm not going to edit any of it because this is, you know, this was meant to be spontaneous and, between parentheses, fast, you know, showing you what I had built before. When Bollo Bollo is finished, I will go section by section, which means I'll put all of the animals in one section and keep the rest empty so that I can add more animals and the frame rate will, you know, make more sense. And I will actually take even more time looking at everything, and that will probably be, excuse me, a very, very big video. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm so proud that this project is nearing completion. There's still some work to do, more than you believe, but this massive, crazy little thing is nearing completion, and yeah, it is by and far the biggest zoo I made. There is another zoo that I've teased before, and I think actually my next zoo tour will be the other unfinished city zoo that I built. But I'll show that to you probably like next weekend or something, maybe even before the lion habitat is finished. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this exclusive view into what came before YouTube, and I will see you very soon with either the lion habitat, the city zoo tour that I just promised you, and more zoo tours are coming also from other creators. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so happy that my microphone was on this time around, and yeah, you'll see this video popping up this Friday night. I'll see you very soon.